had to jump back on. Pay me no mind, sports and entertainment. You know the deal already. Uh, Quick thing. I haven't really done much for Black History Month, admittedly, but I saw an interesting thing on Instagram this morning that bugged me out, and it kind of speaks to last week's Judas and the Black Messiah, and watching what some of the civil rights and yesterday Sunday was the anniversary of the assassination of Malcolm X, and I saw his daughter Ilyasha Shabazz on the Breakfast Club, and just the pain that some of these families went through coming through the civil rights and the obvious loss. And these aren't even civil rights figures. You know, this was somebody's father. But not anyway. But this Instagram post, it was about Alfred King, the brother of Martin Luther King. I'm bad on. This is why I don't get. This is why Black History Month is not bad to me. I was not aware that he had a brother. That Martin Luther King Jr. had a brother, Alfred, and this man passed away 15. Was it 15 days or 15 months? I think it was. I messed my details up. He passed away shortly after Martin Luther King was assassinated, April 4th, 68 or whatever. And nobody really talked about it because on the day he was found dead, he drowned in the family pool in the backyard. And nobody really talks about it because that day, Armstrong and Aldrin were walking on the moon. So this man spent his whole life in his brother's shadow. And then when he passed away, it was an afterthought because man was walking on the moon. But what's also tragic about that family, this is Dayton, Ohio history. In 74, this cat named William Chernow from Dayton, Ohio, actually gunned down Alberta King, Martin Luther King's mother. I know this is morbid, but gunned down Alberta King in Ebenezer Church, in their home church. This dude from Dayton gunned down Martin Luther King's mother and then a deacon of the church. And like I said, man, what some of these families went through is just unimaginable. I don't have a good segue to go away from that, but what I wanted to talk about with Cam Newton being on this I am. Oh, what's good, bro? Salute here from Junior the Truth, but that's a different name. Okay. I am athlete. Look, man, I'm jealous. Glad I can catch you. Glad you called me. I'm jealous. I'm gonna admit it, man. I am athlete. It's a podcast. It's a whole movement from Brandon Marshall, former 13 years in the NFL, wide receiver on several teams, so on and so forth. Owns the House of Athlete down in Florida. And it's just, he's on Fox Sports on First Things First. He's on Showtime, I believe, doing their weekly recap show. Has done, I hate the Brothers Dreads, I ain't gonna lie. I don't like the Brothers Dreads. But anyway, Cam Newton. I hate that these guys have come over to start doing podcasts, man, because it just made life that much more difficult for us little guys. But we hear some great stuff over there, man. And what I wanted to talk about with this episode of I Am Athlete is I really don't think Cam Newton has received the recognition that he deserves for what he did, what he's done as a football player. And in my opinion, based on it being football, it's damn near on the same level of what. I can't say it's LeBron-like, with LeBron going to 10 NBA finals and Cam didn't win his Super Bowl trip, but going 15-1 that year, Losing to the Denver Broncos, who were led by Peyton Manning, 24-10 in the Super Bowl, I get it. But it's only Russell Wilson and who won one, and then Doug Williams won one too, my Washington football team. But the excitement that Cam Newton brought to the NFL that year, the fact that he didn't have a 1,000-yard rusher, didn't have a 1,000-yard receiver, really had no elite help on offense that year. And like I said on my Tom Brady video, you only get the day of in football. It's not a series. It's not a 7-game series. You got to do it that day. And for that reason, I think it gets overlooked at the impact of what Cam Newton achieved and just how dominant he was that year in his MVP season. So on this episode of I Am Athlete, Fred Taylor, Brandon Marshall, Chad Ochocinco, Johnson, it's just great to hear the athlete talk. Like, I hear Shannon Sharp, Shay, and some of these other, Keyshawn Johnson, all of these other people who have jobs on TV. But just to be a fly on the wall in the room as these dudes who did it, as they talk shop. And Chad Johnson was like, man, I hated to see you in New England this past season. He was like, you were up there with no dogs. And like all of this, the sub 500 season or whatever it is, all of that falls on the shoulders of Cam Newton. He's there on this BS deal. 1 year, he was yanked a couple of times. He played with the constant threat of being yanked. No skills, guys. But that's what they were saying. Like, a lot of these others, in comparing him to Aaron Rodgers. So Aaron Rodgers can go to the line every play, and he can count on number 17. What's my man's name? Adams. He can count on him to get open every play. And Cam Newton didn't have that. And now that man is a free agent, and he's hoping to get a job, hoping to catch on somewhere. And so, like I said, man, go check out the podcast. Again, us everyday dudes, we can't get these types of guests on our platforms. You want to have these discussions, but I just thought it was very honest from Cam Newton. We got a lot of people, and then you have people that want to say Bill Belichick is racist or he's this and he's that. Fred Taylor, Chad Ochocinco, Cam Newton, they were all like, man, Belichick he's a genius. He's a real dude. And just said, that it was an honor to play for the man and play with the man. But going back to Cam, he just said it was the only place that he could catch on. It was the only place where he could work. And he said, things didn't go right. And, he wasn't blaming people and throwing people under the bus. He just said when he came back from the COVID situation, from him having COVID and having to miss 2 games, I think, he just said that the team kind of moved on without him. And, he said his arm is good. He said he's still healthy and whatnot. He plans to come back and do what he can do. But again, man, I got to get ready to get off here. But just like I said, the honesty, man, we sit in here, dudes, talk about, especially in the world of boxing. We hear guys say stuff, and especially the way that we defend people, boxers, in the boxing community. Like, you can't even question these dudes without somebody coming at you sideways just because you have a different view. And here it is with Cam Newton. everybody you can't go out here and say whatever you want to say. We saw this happen. We saw this cost Kaepernick everything. And Cam Newton was on there like, nah, man, I'm not gonna say this, I'm not gonna say that, because I still want to go out here and earn a living. Basically, I still want to. I got things that I'm trying to do. I got people supporting. Depending on me. That I'm not gonna come in here and not keep it a buck, but I gotta be a little bit more strategic in how I approach stuff and how I defend myself, how I defend my record, and so on and so forth. It was just a great, it was a great podcast, man. And like I said, Cam Newton is a rare individual, man. There's not a lot of brothers who've led a team to the Super Bowl. It's not a lot of brothers who've led an expansion team, one of the later teams to one of the later franchises that was added to the league. You know, it's not many brothers who've led them to a Super Bowl and whatnot. So they also got to talking about with Fred Taylor and him being former Florida Gators. They also got to some discussion about Aaron Rodriguez, and basically saying that the man was a damn pussycat. Like, he really wasn't the dude they were making him out to be in the documentaries that we've seen last year. You can make it at what you want to make it at. Yeah, you can do what you want. You can believe them, or you can believe the documentary, or you can believe what happened in the court stuff. But Fred Taylor said that he actually talked to Aaron Hernandez. Did I say Rodriguez? Hernandez, on the day that he committed suicide, reportedly. And he said he talked to him that day, and the man was in great spirits. And his opinion was that just from the interaction with him on the phone, there was no way in the world that he killed himself. Again, you got to do with that. That's part of the podcast. You get some stuff that you don't get everywhere else, you know? So do what you want with that. But in closing, I got to get off of here into my break. But we didn't get, this was recorded before the whole situation with the teenager on the sideline at the 7-on-7 camp that Cam Newton was at. And, that young man came out on Instagram and apologized for, how he conducted himself, how he was interacting with Cam Newton, how he was talking to an adult. And I'm glad he did that. I think he was out of pocket. And, that's part of what I was saying earlier with Meek Mill and the situation with the Kobe Bryant lyric, and how hurtful that was to Kobe Bryant, his family, and the legacy of Kobe. Like, that was just ignorant. And it kind of stems from where we are, what goes on social media. And then in public, you just say whatever you want to somebody. And so I think Cam handled it correctly, though. And then we just can't forget that, like, Cam was on there saying that, he gives of himself and his philanthropy and the businesses that he's starting that employs other people. And, he was on there talking about buy black and whatnot and so on and so forth. Like I said, man, just go check out the podcast. I hate for these guys to come into the podcast space, man. I was already down to 3 listeners per episode. Now I'm going to be down to like 1.75 listeners per episode when these guys had that type of content. But nah, for real, it's dope. Like I said, to hear directly from the athletes and to hear the discussion steered in a proper manner, and for, nothing to be taken out of connotation. And when these guys are in the right environment and in the right settings, you get a different kind of honesty. You don't get some dude like me who never laced up the gloves and put a mouthpiece in or put on a pair of cleats. You don't get somebody talking about somebody being less than and scrutinizing what they worked over half of their life to be. And then to hear the behind the scenes stuff and the camaraderie, and then, to talk about how you have to defend yourself, and it's not about playing the race card, and this is for real. And I thought it was dope, man. Like I said, I've just been subscribed to the podcast for the last 2 or 3 episodes. They just had this brother from the Giants on there, Ogun Yele, he got one a Nigerian. Owale Unganyeli, that doesn't even. Wale Unganyeli, I'm sorry, but this brother was an all-pro cat with the New York Giants. Also played in Carolina, I believe. And this dude is like, he is what The Rock, Dwayne Johnson's character on Ballers. Ogunyeli is doing that now in real life, and he was just on there talking about brothers coming into wealth, and how to manage that wealth better, and how he's like the second in charge of this really big athlete, or what is it called? Sports agency. So just check the podcast out, man. It's very it's only a few outlets where you can get this type of access, this type of insight, this type of interaction, these types of discussions that span so much more, where it's really bigger than the sport. It's really bigger than the game. And so I'm just on here paying homage and respect to somebody else doing it. So anyway, let me get on off of here, man. Pay me no mind, sports and entertainment. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Peace.